Hi dear students, as we are doing revision in this video, so here let's start with the fourth type of chemical reaction, that is double displacement reaction. We have done three types of chemical reaction, that is combination, decomposition, displacement. Now this is double displacement. We know that in displacement reaction the more reactive element have the tendency to displace or to replace the less reactive element from its compound and make a bond with the compound, and formation of new product takes place, that is displacement reaction. But in the double displacement reaction, here the condition is that both the reactants should be in the solution form, because in the solution form they retain their ions, and in their ionic form they are going to exchange their ion with one another. That's why it is called, also called to be as ion exchange reaction. Okay, so here one is going to, the first element is going to displace the other element from the reactant, and then new product is going to form. So here we can define double displacement reaction as the chemical reaction in which one component each of both the reacting molecule get exchanged to form the product. This means that double displacement reaction has taken place. With the help of example, I will make you more clear, because without example it would be difficult to understand displacement reaction. See, here we have barium chloride, two reactant here we are having, that is barium chloride and sodium sulfate. When these barium chloride and sodium sulfate react with each other, they both are in the aqueous form. See, here aq is written. Aq means it is in aqueous form. Aqua means water, means it is dissolved in the water, so it is in the solution form. So because it is in the solution form, so we know that whatever the metal is present, metal will always be having positive charge and non-metal will be having negative charge. So here barium is metal, it acquire positive charge, and chlorine will be having negative. Again sodium will be having positive and sulfate will be having negative charge. So they are going to exchange their each other's ions. This barium is going to react with sulfate, and sodium is going to make a bond with chlorine. Then the formation of new product takes place, that is called to be as barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. So here exchange of ion takes place. They both are going to exchange their ions from one another. So whatever the new product is formed, one is in the form of precipitate, because they both are not soluble in one another. Okay, like if we will be adding solution of barium chloride and solution of sodium sulfate with one another, both are in the solution form, and when we are taking both the solution in one container only, then they are going to form a product. So whatever the product is formed, these products are not soluble in one another. That's why one comes as a precipitate, that is in the solid form, and another one will be in the aqueous form. That is called to be as double displacement reaction. Here we have few more example of double displacement reaction. See, like calcium hydroxide, CaOH2. The common name of this one is lime water. Here it react or it passes with carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so here this one is going to give what? Calcium carbonate plus water molecule. So here also calcium, precipitate of calcium carbonate takes place. Here also they are going to exchange their ions with one another. Okay, so if it is difficult to understand, then see the first equation, that is sodium carbonate react with hydrogen chloride. So here also exchange of ion takes place, and sodium is going to react with the chlorine, and hydrogen is going to react with the carbonate, and then formation of sodium chloride and hydrogen carbonate takes place. Okay, so this is called to be as double displacement reaction. Here we have many more example of double displacement, like see here, silver nitrate react with sodium chloride gives out silver chloride plus sodium nitrate. Again here we are mixing lead nitrate with sodium sulfate, it will give rise to lead sulfate plus sodium nitrate. Then in the third reaction, here what we have, here we have hydrogen nitrate react with potassium hydroxide, it will give rise to potassium nitrate plus water molecules. So these all are an example of what double displacement reaction. Once again I am going to repeat the definition of this one, that double displacement reaction, it is a reaction in which Both the reactant are in the aqueous form, and when they mix with one another, they are going to exchange their ions with one another. The first one is going to exchange their negative ion with the other's negative, and others negative is going to exchange their positive with the first one. Okay, so this is called to be as double displacement reaction. But in the displacement reaction, only one element is going to displace another element. Then the product, whatever the product is formed, this element has more reactivity than the earlier one. Okay, now we have the last type of chemical reaction, that is called to be as oxidation reduction reaction, which is also called to be as redox reaction. So what do you mean by redox reaction? Whenever we are talking about the most of the reaction that is going to take place near by us, so these all reaction is a result of oxidation and reduction. Because oxidation and reduction is what? Oxidation means it is a addition of oxygen to any of the substance, or removal of hydrogen. Either addition of oxygen takes place or removal of hydrogen takes place in a chemical reaction, that is called to be as oxidation reaction. Okay, reduction reaction is what? Reduction, it is a reaction which is just opposite of oxidation. In oxidation, addition of oxygen takes place, but in reduction, addition of hydrogen takes place. Okay, in oxidation, removal of hydrogen takes place, but in reduction, removal of oxygen takes place. So oxidation and reduction is just opposite of one another, isn't it? So here, the substance which either gives oxygen or remove hydrogen in an oxidation reaction is called to be as oxidizing agent, which is going to lose their oxygen. Okay, or which is going to remove hydrogen in an oxidation reaction is called to be as oxidizing agent. See here, once again we are having some example. Before that, we have to know about the reducing agent also. Like the substance which either gives hydrogen or remove oxygen in a reduction reaction is called to be as reducing agent. See here, we have example in which zinc oxide combined with carbon. Here zinc is present in form of oxide, means zinc and oxygen, it is in the form of compound, and carbon is present in its elemental form. But in the product side, what we saw here, zinc is going to release its oxygen, means it is going to lose its oxygen. So loss of oxygen takes place. So loss of oxygen is called to be as reduction process. Okay, and carbon, what about carbon? First, carbon, it is in the elemental form in the reactant side, but in the product side, carbon is going to gain one oxygen, means gain of oxygen takes place. So gain of oxygen is what? That is called to be as oxidation reaction. Okay, so oxidation and reduction both takes place in the same reaction. So when these both takes place in the same reaction simultaneously, this type of reaction is called to be as redox reduction. Here we have one more example. See, hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S plus SO2. Here we will be taking this in terms of what? In terms of hydrogen. Here hydrogen and sulfur both are present in the compound form. So sulfur is going to lose its hydrogen. Okay, so loss of hydrogen, because in the product side sulfur is present alone, means it is in the elemental form. So means sulfur is going to lose its hydrogen, that's why it is present in elemental form in the product side. So loss of hydrogen is what? Loss of hydrogen is called to be as oxidation. Okay, and sulfur in the second one, see here sulfur, because hydrogen is going to sulfur is going to lose its sulfur, that's why here oxidation takes place. Once again, this sulfur, the second sulfur which we are seeing in the second sulfur, this one is going to lose its oxygen. Again here loss of oxygen takes place. So loss of oxygen is also called to be as what? That is reduction. Okay, so here we are taking both in terms of hydrogen and oxygen. Few more example of this one. See, in the third example we have manganese oxide plus hydrogen chloride. Okay, and the product is manganese chloride plus chlorine plus water molecule. So manganese oxide, here manganese is going to lose its oxygen, Chlorine is present, but chlorine do not have any value for oxidation and reduction. We have to see only oxygen and hydrogen. So chlorine is going to lose its oxygen, means reduction takes place. Loss of oxygen is reduction. Hydrogen is going to hydrogen chloride. Here hydrogen chloride, chlorine is going to lose its hydrogen. So loss of hydrogen is called to be as oxidation. Okay, so what are these all are the example of redox reaction. Okay, redox reaction, it is a reaction in which oxidation and reduction both takes place simultaneously. And oxidation is what? Oxidation, it is addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Or reduction is what? It is addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. These all are the example of oxidation and reduction reaction. Last topic of this chapter, that is corrosion and rigidity. We know that we have lots of things which undergo oxidation. So because of this oxidation reaction, there are many type of bad impact in our daily life. That if we people are keeping anything like chips, if we are keeping these chips in open air, then what happen after some time? These chips, means this will lose its crispiness. Actually, why does it happens? Because this chips is going to react with the oxygen and oxidation takes place. That's why it loses its crispiness. That's why we are keeping these chips inside the packet, and in the packet we are flushing nitrogen gas. Why we are flushing nitrogen gas? Because nitrogen gas do not let the oxygen to come in contact with the chips. If chips do not come in contact with the oxygen, then means rigidity or oxidation do not takes place. Okay, whenever anything becomes stale or bad smell is coming out from any of the food, it is because of the oxidation. It means when it combined with the oxygen. That's why we people are keeping these things inside the refrigerator. Inside refrigerator we also are having oxygen in that. But the two things which are responsible for the oxidation, that is presence of oxygen, second presence of moisture, or because of increasing the temperature. So if people are keeping anything in increased temperature, then obviously these things is going to become full smell will be coming from these food. That's why we people are keeping this one inside the refrigerator. Okay, to keep it safe for long time. So if we need to avoid this type of oxidation, we have to do the prevention of oxidation. But before this one, there are two things which is going to happen because of the oxidation, that cause lots of bad impact. That is called to be as corrosion. So what do you mean by corrosion? Corrosion, it is a chemical process of slow eating up of surface of certain metals when kept in open for a long time. It is oxidation of any of the metal. Whenever any of the metal come in contact with oxygen, oxidation of that metal takes place. This process is called to be as, this oxidation of metal is called to be as corrosion. Okay, like here if we are keeping like we are wearing what? Anklet. This anklet or means whenever silver come in contact with air, greenish layer is going to form above that anklet. Why does it happens? Because it undergo oxidation, and because of the oxidation one coating is going to form over the silver. That is called as corrosion. Okay, any of the metal when undergo oxidation, it is called as corrosion, except iron. Here we have given a special name to iron, that oxidation of iron is called to be as rigidity. Why we have given a special name for iron? Because we know that iron, many of the thing that is made up of iron, and like bridges, many or trains, or many of the things, these are made up of what? The track of trains, these all are made up of what? Iron. So because these all things are always in the exposure to sunlight or water, that's why it easily come in contact with the water or oxygen. That's why rusting of this one can easily takes place. So to avoid rusting, we are always keeping a layer or always putting a layer above these iron, to avoid the contact, direct contact of oxygen or iron. Okay, that is called to be as the prevention of oxidation or prevention of rusting. These things we will discuss in the next chapter. How do we prevent anything from rusting or corrosion? But here, because of the corrosion or rusting process, we are going to face many of the economic problem, because it is not possible to make bridges again and again every year, because it is too much expensive. That's why we need to protect these things from rusting. So here we are putting some of the layer or some of the other metal which do not let it to come in contact with the air or water directly. So this is called to be as rusting. Again I am going to define corrosion and rusting. Corrosion, it is oxidation of any of the metal, and rusting, it is the oxidation of iron. So here we have a formula of rust, that is Fe2O3, that is ferric oxide. Here we have XH2 because the number of water molecule is not fixed. That's why we may write it as XH2. Now the last topic, that is called to be as rancidity. Rancidity, it is the oxidation of food. Oxidation has also damaging effect on food and eatable. When food containing fats and oil is left as such for a long time, it becomes stale. Okay. So the stale food often develop bad taste and smell. This is very common in case of curd and cheese, particularly in summer. Actually, the oil and fat are slowly oxidized to certain bad smelling compound. These are of volatile nature and release foul smell. This is known as rancidity. So rancidity, it is a oxidation of food material. Mostly the food which contain oil and fat, it very easily come in contact with the oxygen and bad smell start coming from this type of food, that is called to be as rancidity. So once again, to avoid this sensitivity, we people are keeping these food inside the freezer or in a airtight container to do not let it in contact with the oxygen. So these are some bad effect of oxidation in our daily life. So with that, we have completed this chapter. Here some of the uh, process is given, that how do we keep anything safe from oxidation, that is vacuum packing. It means it do not let the we do not let the allow the air to come inside the container. That's why we have to keep the food inside airtight container. Second, keeping food item at low temperature, that is inside the refrigerator. Replacing air with nitrogen by flushing nitrogen gas into the packet, which do not let the oxygen come in contact with the food which is in the packets. Second, by avoiding sunlight. Okay, that's why in many of the things it was written, keep in cool place. Okay, so these are the prevention of rancidity. So with that, we have completed the revision also. In the next class, I will give you revision notes for this one. After that, I am going to start new chapter. Thank you so much, students, for hearing me. If still you will be getting any doubt, then kindly please contact me directly, or you can also message me. Thank you once again.